Good afternoon. My name is Scott Mulwee. I'm chairman of the Burke County Commissioners. This is our second installment of the Fireside Chats. I'm here with my great friend Kevin Baxter. We warmed up talking smack to each other about golf, and so we may get a few of those zingers in during this conversation. But Kevin is the Vice Chancellor and Chief Campus Officer of North Carolina School of Science and Math, and I want to bring you content that's relevant and timely, as I had said in our first installment when we talked budget, which we had just passed. Obviously, unless you've lived under a rock, there's no way you don't know about NCSSM coming to our community. Been planned for what, over 5 years?
Oh yeah.
And of course, it's come to fruition, and we've recently welcomed students onto the campus. So I'm going to turn it over to Kevin and let him just tell us how the students were welcomed, what the plan is in the next couple of months, and just cover some basic information about how things are going in general.
Absolutely. Well, as you can see, I came from work, unlike some people, so it is a very busy time on campus. Haven't had nearly as much time to get on the golf course as some. But in spite of that, we have a lot to celebrate on the campus and in the community. We have 150 students who have moved from their home communities all over the state, from Manteo to Murphy, into the Morganton campus. And so these are all high school juniors. They're all living in that very tall building you see on the campus, the residence hall building. And they are here 24/7 for the entire academic year, except when they choose to go home for a doctor's appointment or a family visit or whatever it may be, or when we tell them they have to go home for holidays and extended weekends. And so they are out in the community. I hope that folks have seen them walking all over creation. They have no vehicles as part of our service to the community. They can't drive. And so they can ride their bikes, they can walk, they have to go off campus in pairs or more, but we really encourage them outside of the school day to get out and experience the community. We facilitate some of that through programs and otherwise encourage them to get out and do what they would do in their home communities as teenagers, and get out and go to the movies and go to the parks and play sports and everything else they might be enjoyed engaging in. So we are up and running. We started classes on August the 16th, and so we have a full course catalog. We have about 25 faculty who have been hired from really all over the place. We have 2 who've come to us from inside of Burke County and another 23 that have been hired from all over the country who are delivering our mathematics, our science, our humanities, and our computer science and engineering curriculum. And they are really delivering an accelerated, rigorous experience to these kids who are really coming to us from very different perspectives. Some of them have had very advanced coursework in their home high school, and some of them really had no advanced coursework to even pursue in their home high school based on the amount of resources that their home district might have. And so we meet students where they are and offer a whole range of curriculum on the campus. We also have online students who are engaged at Morganton just as they are at Durham, who might live in their home communities and access curriculum from both sites. So school year is off and running. We've got about 63 employees on the Morganton campus at this point in time, 150 students, as I said, and we are now operating 3 buildings on the campus, and that will grow over time.
Fantastic. So obviously the first group of 150, we'll have another 150 next year.
Right.
So for the full capacity, student capacity is 300 students. What is going to be the full capacity of staff once you get it completely ramped up to 100%?
So we expect to be at about 110 employees, full-time employees of the school based in Morganton. And that would be, we would hope, by the end of May, early June of next year, 2023. And we are going to have additional employees working on the site, contracted dining, housekeeping, health clinic, so probably another 25 to 30 contracted employees beyond the 110 that we will employ on the NCSSM payroll.
Okay. Well, once again, very exciting. I did notice an article in the paper they've already been out in the community volunteering.
That's right.
And that was, I'm sure, going to be a big push for y'all to get, as you said, active in the community. I would encourage our citizens when we see the students out to thank them for coming and welcoming them with open arms. I do, I've had a couple people ask me questions because, you've been very good at pushing content out not everybody's been able to access it, but most everybody. And so some of the common questions we get are, is the group of students going to be as diverse here at the Morganton campus as the Durham campus? Because I'm sure you've had that question.
Oh, we absolutely have had that question. I've been here for almost 6 years, and so been leading the project, been trying to understand what the goals were and how to bring them to life here in Morganton. And there was a lot of, honestly, there was a lot of concern inside the NCSSM community about would we be able to match the diversity of the student body in Morganton as we've been able to enjoy in Durham historically. And I have been a firm believer we would, that this community and this region have tremendous amount to offer, and that the institution overall has the same values in both locations. And lo and behold, we admitted our first class, and they are just as geographically diverse as the Durham campus. They are 50-50, male-female, just like the Durham campus. And they are actually, if you look at the demographics in terms of race and ethnicity, we have a higher percentage of underrepresented minority students in the admitted class in Morganton than we even did in Durham this year.
Great.
So we actually exceeded all of our goals just out of the gate in terms of what we drew in terms of interest of students.
That's fantastic. And the other question I get, and I assume that was the diversity, I assume that was the answer, but on this answer I wasn't quite 100% sure. Is the curriculum similar here versus Durham? And is there nuanced changes specifically because we're more of a rural setting?
The first question, yes, it's a very similar curriculum. We have a core curriculum at NCSSM that is in both locations, and it informs the catalog for our online program. And so they're getting a very rigorous set of options as it relates to science, engineering, math, and computer science, but also humanities and fine arts. Most folks don't realize we have such a robust humanities program because it's not in the name of the school. But in fact, Rhiannon Giddens is one of our alumni. She founded the Carolina Chocolate Drops and just a fantastic Grammy Award-winning musician. We have artists and Broadway talent that have come through the school, and so we actually are investing heavily in the arts in Morganton, just as we do in Durham. But to your point, the curriculum does kind of have some distinct elements in Morganton that break away from the pre-existing mold in Durham. Not because we're a rural community, but because we have different assets in this region of the state. And so we actually decided to kind of leverage the data science holdings of Western North Carolina.
Sure.
Everything from Apple, Facebook, Google, AT&T, Disney, all these folks that have massive data center holdings and are increasingly pushing talent to this region of the country. Looking at that, but also looking at the financial technology activities going on in the Charlotte area, looking at the sustainable agriculture and agricultural technology activities going on in Boone and throughout the mountain region, looking at some of the activities going on with climate science in Asheville. I mean, the national repository for climate data for the country is in Asheville, and NC State helps to administer that. We're working on partnerships with them to get our students connected to that data set and how to study it and use it for the betterment of our communities. So we're really trying to leverage all those assets in a way that allow our students and our faculty to be additive to the region and be able to help shine a light on the wonderful things we have here that many folks don't even know are in our backyard.
Sure. Yeah, people that live here all our lives, you come in from other places and say, look at what this resource we don't necessarily, either we don't appreciate or we weren't familiar with. So It's very interesting. Of course, what's nice about this concept, as you said, this is region-wide. This isn't a Burke County thing by any means. I mean, my fellow commissioners throughout, you name a county in western North Carolina, they've been ecstatic to have something west of 77 like this. And it is a once-in-a-lifetime, literally, opportunity. Two more quick questions.
Sure.
I would ask that, I haven't been asked this, but I probably will. I know the faculty and students are going to be out in the community, but what if I'm asked, is the community going to be invited onto the campus? Because there's always questions, what's going on, where are they, what does this building look like? Is there going to be an opportunity for the general public to be able to come and view it?
Yeah, it's a great question, and there are opportunities, but it's not free range.
Sure.
Right? It's not as though all of us would necessarily walk up to Mountain View Elementary School today or Patton High
Absolutely.
School and expect to be warmly greeted on the property as they're wandering through if school was in session, right? And
Absolutely.
so we have the same kind of security apparatus and concern for the welfare of our students and our community. And so we're very mindful of public trafficking of the campus while school is in session. Now there's the class day, and then there's the overall, academic year when school is in session in our case because it's residential.
Sure.
So we do want very much to keep our campus area, the exterior of our campus, as public as possible. It's a storied and celebrated part of our community. I've met countless, runners and dog owners and cyclists and folks who have been wandering that ridge line for generations, and we don't want to be the reason they can't do that anymore. It's not quite ready for folks to do because we still have construction fencing in a lot of places as we finish up the build over the next, 3 to 18 months based on which building we're talking about. However, we are trying to make that public spine just that, public with some guardrails to make sure we can preserve and protect our students in the way that the families sending them to us are expecting. So that's for Joe and Jane public,
Sure.
that opportunity to experience the campus. Beyond that, we have summer programs during the summer months that are open to students internationally. And those are STEM programs for rising 6th graders through rising 12th graders. They're the only thing that we do that has a cost associated with it. And that is just like any camp you might do at Catawba Science Center or CAMA, right? And so we have those opportunities available for about 6 weeks each summer. And the options allow for students to stay on our campus, eat there, sleep there, have activities, but then have courses during the day. And so that was our pilot this past summer. We'll ramp that up even more this summer. And soon, our barn, the 1940 cattle barn, will be completely done. We're about a month away from completion. And when that's complete, that will be our assembly hall. But it will also allow for partners in the region to be able to access it for various events, programs, and activities, many of which are public-facing, to leverage that kind of unique sized venue and pretty neat, cool venue, in my opinion, because it'll have about a 450-person capacity to it.
Well, and I mentioned my last point is we were talking golf before we started
Yeah.
filming. Are we going to have a golf team over there?
So yeah, we have, we only if you don't coach it, probably. We would like to be competitive. We do have varsity sports, but it's really tricky in the first year because we only have 75 boys and 75
Sure.
girls in the class, right? And so they can't do every sport. The Durham campus has 21 varsity sports and a whole host of club and intramural sports. We're starting with the sports where we have student interest. And so this fall, we have our first meet ever on Wednesday, the 31st of August. We're going to be doing a cross-country meet, and
Wow.
that'll be our first ever competition.
Wow.
We also have a girls' tennis team that's already practicing over at Western Piedmont Community College. And so in the winter, we're trying to launch a boys' basketball team and a swimming and diving team. And then in the spring, we have eyes on I believe, women's golf and, or is it one of the male or female, I can't remember, golf, as well as boys soccer is another big area of interest from our students. So we're going to continue to grow the athletics program as we get the second group of students.
Sure.
And we're independent this year with the High School Athletic Association. We'll join a conference in the reseeding next year in 2023. So that will happen. I hope golf is among the sports that we offer competitively. And I would say that you mentioned the students being out in the community. They are expected as part of their give back for the support the state's giving them to participate in the school. Our students do community service for both of the years they're enrolled with us. And so the graduating class in Durham last year contributed 25,000 hours of community service.
Wow.
In their 2 years at the school.
Unbelievable.
We expect our students to be doing just as much here in the Burke County region and beyond. And so I really do hope those watching that have community organizations they're a part of and drives for support, that they can really engage with my team to make sure that we find ways to encourage our students to participate, learn more, and get engaged with those community partners.
Fantastic. Well, fantastic information. I knew there was a lot of content. We'll squeeze in with my good friend Kevin. I really appreciate you coming today. Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you wanted to put out there? Or I think we covered a lot of area.
Yeah, I would just say, and it pains me to do so, but I want to thank you, Commissioner Moley, for your support. You were one of the first people to welcome me to town. You've been a constant, stalwart champion of this project, not just what it will do for the county, but what bringing this new additional capital to this region would do for the whole state. We did an economic analysis, and it looks like about $23 million in annual return to the state just
Wow.
right now from this campus being here, with most of it concentrated in Burke County and around Burke County. And so that was a bit of a leap of faith a couple years back without
Sure.
really knowing what it was going to do. And we've got a phenomenally engaged and happy student body and workforce, many of whom have relocated to this region, and we're just getting started. And so the foresight, not just here in the county, but at the state level, from some of our local legislators and others, it's really remarkable what it's come to bring, and it's really put us on a trajectory that's going to be awesome for this whole region. So thank you, and thanks to the rest of the board that's been so supportive over the years.
And I would like you to thank and thank and send our congratulations to your cohorts in Durham, who've been very active here in the community. They've been up here multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Got to meet a lot of the folks from Durham, and they're just like you, very engaged and very supportive of their local communities. And I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your staff and faculty. And I would say that once again, we see the students out in the community. Let's welcome them. Let's watch out for them. And I'm glad to know they're not out driving, because that would be a little hectic. But in any case, if there's anything we can do for you at the county, please let us know, and I appreciate your time today.
Absolutely, sure will.
And with that, I'll end this fireside chat, and please send any suggestions you have for any future fireside chats. I'll be glad to listen and put those on as well. So thank you.